Hello, my name is Mercury, and welcome to this brand new episode of Media Buffet. Today, I am alone, and I'll be discussing the second season slash saga of Dragon Ball, the Tournament Saga. So yes, we are continuing with Dragon Ball. I know it's been both not a long time and kind of a little bit since we've touched Dragon Ball. For the episode count, not really. It has been 7 months. It has been 7 months since Dragon Ball, the last Dragon Ball episode. Hopefully, it won't take that long to the next one. But even though I say these things, it never fucking happens. But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Anyways, Dragon Ball, right? Continuing on with Dragon Ball, slowly but surely, making Dragon Ball episodes. That's fun. This one took me a while to finish, and because this was during college, and this particular semester was a bit tough for me in a way. I it took me a while to get through this season. It's not that it's bad. It's not like my next retro episode. No. This one isn't bad. But I feel the same way as I did it. I think it's better-ish than the first season. But there are some moments here that definitely drag on. But to be honest, hopefully next season won't be that bad, or don't want the same problems. I'm hoping that I get into Dragon Ball for sure. And a lot of my friends are really big Dragon Ball fans, and I want to watch more anime. And hey, Dragon Ball is a good one for that. So yeah, no, I would love to get into it, but we gotta get to Diamond in the Rough first. I know a lot of people skip Dragon Ball the first series, but I don't want to do that since I know that Dragon Ball Z is just the second half or something like that of the first series. So you know, when I get through this first, even though it's gonna be another 9 seasons, and yes, I am doing the 9 season format. I think I mentioned this last time. I'm doing the 9 season format that I think Funimation had, and not the 5 season one that's like usual, because that's 30 episodes, and I don't want to do that. I'll get to that with Dragon Ball Z when I do. But with this, I just want to do it kind of the same thing. It's 153 episodes, and it's not that bad to do it by then until we get to the last season, which I think last season is like 31 episodes or something like that. It's a lot. I don't know if you guys could understand that. I don't know if I'm speaking too fast, but yeah. Dragon Ball, like the last season of Dragon Ball is like 31 episodes. So it's gonna take a while for me to get through. But anyways, that's probably this year, honestly. Get into Dragon Ball. There are a lot of movies. Like something fucking real. There's a lot of movies gotta get to. So those will be the buffer zones for me to catch up on Dragon Ball. At least what I need to say for Dragon Ball. Anyways, there's not much prelude to this other than it being the second season, and hey, I'm here to talk about it. So let's just get into it. Starting off with the visuals and action. So it should be stated that season 2 didn't have any break. Like all the seasons of Dragon Ball that we're gonna review, to my knowledge, and even like let's just see, I'm not sure. I want to get that open actually. Dragon Ball Z. I know. Here. I know that Dragon Ball, the original, all the episodes are continuous. It's not, they don't have a break between any of them, and it looks like Dragon Ball Z is also that way, where like season 2, like there's no real division between Dragon Ball, and there is a division between Dragon Ball Z, but with Dragon Ball itself, it's like the first one isn't really divided. If you go on Crunchyroll, it is all one big season. I think it was on Hulu at one point, and it was also all just one big season. I'm pretty sure. obviously you can't fit one gigantic 153 episode season on a DVD from like 2000. Might have been VHS at that point. I don't know, but so they had to segment it, and it's segmented into 9, which is what I'm using now. For I think this is Funimation that did this. But I'm saying this because it was all one continuous show basically until the very end, except for when we got Dragon Ball Z. I'm pretty sure. Again, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure what the fuck. No. Um. I'm not sure if there was a break between. No, there wasn't. That's insane. Okay. The thing is that Dragon Ball by itself ended in like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z in the manga. They're one big continuous thing, and I checked it, and it looks like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z started like Dragon Ball ended one week and Dragon Ball Z started the other, and it continued on for every single week. That is insane. It's actually diabolical. Yeah, that is insane. I did not know that. But yeah, when Dragon Ball ended, then Dragon Ball Z started. That was insane. Okay, yeah. But yeah, what I'm saying that is because there's not going to be a lot of like different. There's not going to be any disparity, any difference between the animation quality going into season 2. There's not a break or anything. It's just one big continuous thing, and it seems like that's going to go into Dragon Ball Z. So it's going to have the same art style. It's going to have the same thing for the next for the next 17 seasons worth of this show. Of this entire franchise. It's gonna have the same as animation quality, to my knowledge. I know. I think I said it. I think I said it last episode. I know I can watch Dragon Ball Z Kai, and it's going to be shorter and all that stuff. Like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I'm gonna watch all of Dragon Ball, all of Dragon Ball Z, the original Dragon Ball Z, all 291 episodes until the very end. Until the very fucking end. So I don't care. Please don't. I'm here. Okay. I'm gonna check. Because I'm not sure. I'm using. I want to check if the place I'm watching, Dragon Ball Z, has all. Yeah, it has all 291 episodes. That's good. Because apparently some of them didn't air in Dragon Ball Z. I go fuck this. I'm not doing that shit. Oh fuck. No, that's insane. Search actors. Quick. But yeah. So, anyways, there's not gonna be much quality difference, and it's very apparent here. There is no quality difference between the visuals of season 1 and season 2. It's gonna be very redundant going into every single visual aspect. It doesn't look any different from the last season. It's gonna be very redundant going through gonna be 17 seasons forward. Going, okay, it looks the same. So you know what? From now on, I'm not gonna focus on the visuals because they're all gonna look the same. That's just the brand. That's just what it is. It's gonna look the same. It's not gonna be any different. It's just there, I guess. So instead, I will be focusing more on the action of Dragon Ball, which is the big thing. The big thing is the action of Dragon Ball, and the fights in this season are definitely a step up. Of course, going into something called the Tournament Saga, you'd think that the fights would be much better, and they are. Towards the very end, it is almost all fights, and I think they're handled really well. And they're very creative, even though it's again tournament thing, and you fight, you see Yamcha versus versus a Master Roshi or Master Roshi, which is actually another character, Jackie Chun. I'll talk about that later. Then you have like Nam versus I forgot the person who fucking just strips naked in front of Nam. I forgot her name already. The big stink guy. Like, there's a lot of creative fights. Every fight doesn't feel every fight in the show feels different, and I gotta commend it for that. Like, and they're all cool fights. Obviously, I can see the Dragon Ball DNA seeping into the show. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I can definitely see it taking form here, where fights drag on for episodes. Not drag on, but go on for multiple episodes. The final fight of Mugen Roshi / Jackie Chun versus Goku goes on for 3 episodes. I am not joking. 3 episodes. That's it, probably when we reach Dragon Ball Z. There's gonna be like a whole season long fight. like, like I'm fully expecting seeing something absolutely diabolical when we get the Dragon Ball Z proper, just full on. Just full on, like, just legit, like, is it 10 episodes of one fight? Like, I'm fully expecting that, but I can see it now, this happening. But you know what? I didn't feel like throughout the show, like, at least this should be pacing wise, but with the fight, I didn't feel like the show actually like dragged on with the fight. Like, it actually even it being 3 episodes of just one fight, Roshi versus Goku, I feel like it handled it really well, and the pacing was done pretty well, all things considered. I might bump this up. Yeah, I think I might bump this up overall. No, I have some. I think I have some complaints here and there. I think I have some complaints. I just kind of dropped the ball. Maybe. Yeah. I have some very big complaints that I think are definitely negatives, and not things that they could have improved on. Yeah. So, anyways, it's taking its rating. I'm not gonna change it. Um, you know, the fights are really entertaining, and they're all very different. The first one with the giant stink guy was certainly something. It was kind of. I'm not easily to be disgusted, but him like taking his fucking like taint, his taint, stink, and like putting it all over Krillin. Uh, I didn't vomit, but Jesus Christ, me thinking about that in real life. Um, Yikes. I'm not easily disgusted, but that guy was just kind of like, ugh, really, the stink guy. He farts on people and he smells bad. Are you kidding me? I'm so glad we never saw him ever again. But yeah, no, the fights in the show in this season, I think a lot better than the season one. Maybe because season one didn't actually have many fights. It had, I think, one at the beginning with the giant dragon guy, which I think maybe not comes back here. I'm not sure. Then we have like I guess at the very end where they try to like bring like I have Goku. I want like the fight with Yamcha, of course, and then there's like um I guess at the very end where they try to fight Goku, where they try to like calm Goku down. And that's really it for season 1 of like fights, like action sequences. And there's a lot more fights. Obviously, like I said, it's a tournament. You're obviously gonna see fights, but I don't know. Like I feel like this is a lot more enjoyable, even though I have my very big complaints of it. I'm not gonna bump down the rating or bump this one up. I'm not gonna bump down season 1 or bump this one up because this season has its faults that I feel like really hamper the overall enjoyment. I did see that this specific like the final fight with Roshi is like the highest rated episode on Serialized for this show. I can definitely see it, but like in a vacuum, but not with this whole season in mind. Not with the whole season in mind. But I do like the motivation. There's just kind of like, oh god, maybe I'll get flamed for this. I don't know. I'm putting myself in dangerous territory, going like fucking criticizing Dragon Ball of all things. God. But anyways, like I was saying, the fights are cool. So let's move on to the characters. Goku. So Goku is still himself. He doesn't really grow or anything. He does almost win the tournament, and he would have won if he didn't turn into a giant monkey. I'm pretty sure that's like the whole thing. Like he would have won. But he doesn't he doesn't grow, which I mean, fine. Fine. I know that we are on season 2 of a 9 season show of a manga that got split into 2 shows. So we have an additional 9 seasons to go off of. I have 7 seasons left of this show, 9 seasons to go there. There's 16 seasons of growth that can happen. I know that him not growing in this is fine because this specific thing was mostly about Roshi and Krillin and all their characters, more than really anything. Which I will touch upon later, actually, and some things that I actually liked. But Goku doesn't really grow. I know like by himself, which is again just fine. I don't think it's that big of a deal for Goku to not grow as a character right now because he's training, so he's growing as a fighter, which is cool to see, and obviously we see him mastering a bunch of different techniques, such as like him copying all of Roshi's techniques in the fight. Hopefully, we'll see him use those. I'm not sure, because I'll talk about something later that I'll talk about a character later that apparently I learned recently. I mean, I could kind of see from where this season went, but yeah, I can see how this character was forgotten. I didn't know this character was forgotten, but I definitely see it now. But Goku learns a lot about your stuff. He learns how to do the Kamehameha. I'm not calling it Kamehameha. That's fucking stupid. Which is, it's always cool, and that was very hyped to see him do that and see how much fucking hijinks the final fight gets to be between Goku and Roshi. And then there's obviously the other fights here, but Goku mainly doesn't grow. And you know what? I think he's still entertaining, and he's still a fun character to follow around. Even though his motivation is to win the tournament, and that's really it. A character, moving on. A character that I didn't know was introduced with this season, but hey, it's a character I recognize, is Krillin. Krillin is a character that I knew of. Of course, I had secondhand knowledge of Dragon Ball going into the show. I didn't know much about Dragon Ball, the first season as a whole, like the first show as a whole. But I knew about Krillin, and I knew about Yamcha, and I knew about Bulma, and I knew about Roshi, and obviously Goku. I didn't know much about other characters, but I knew the popular ones. And I didn't think Krillin would be introduced here, but hey, he's here. And it's a character I can talk about. I think Krillin as a whole is interesting because we see that he's a normal human. Obviously, Goku is a Saiyan. Big fucking shock, I know. Goku's a Saiyan? No way. I know. Goku's a Saiyan, and his origin. Like I think maybe it's a big twist at some point. Like when we reach Dragon Ball Z, it's like a big twist when he eventually fights Raditz and all that stuff. But like I know this. I think everyone who knows anything about Dragon Ball knows that Goku is a Saiyan. Obviously, they're planting the seeds now. At least I'm guessing the manga planted the seeds now that Goku was a Saiyan, or is not a human. But here, yeah, it is set up, but Krillin is a normal human, and he reaches the same heights as Goku, which is really interesting to see. He obviously loses against Roshi. I'm pretty sure he loses against Roshi. I know Yamcha did. I think maybe Krillin did as well, and then Goku lost. Yeah, Krillin is actually a really interesting character because we see him reach the same heights. He's around the same age. I think he's younger than Goku by like a year or two. So yeah. Except for that, there's not much more to say about Krillin other than him being like Goku's like training partner, rival, whatever, and eventually becoming a friend of his. So yeah, we'll see if Krillin sticks around. I'm pretty sure he does. Maybe he doesn't. I don't fucking know. Let's see. Oh, never mind. Says here, okay, I kind of got spoiled, myself spoiled for season 3. It says here that Krillin goes to live with Roshi. Hey, Chi-Chi's back. Oh, never mind. He's right here. Anyways, okay. I'm guessing he sticks around for a bit within the show itself. But yeah, I'm interested to see where Krillin goes and all that. And especially because he's not, he is just a normal human. I like to see where they take him. And being like Goku's like equal and all that. Well, not equal, of course, because of what Goku is. But seeing Krillin here and him achieving the same heights as Goku, I think is really interesting. And yeah, aside from that, there's not much more to say about his character. And we see here, he's just kind of like a lot more in tune with what the real world, like what like society is like than Goku, and explains a lot more stuff. I do like that he knows more about Roshi and wants to train with him and all stuff, and knows. And him having this like the dichotomy of him knowing about the world and having Goku not really know, but him being stronger. I think it's interesting. It's an interesting rivalry to have within the show, and we'll see how it blossoms from there. But yeah, next character I want to talk about is Roshi / Jackie Chun, and that is definitely a name. Jackie Chun is definitely a name to have for this character. Jesus Christ. Nothing wrong with I think I know it's a joke. I know it's a pun. But it's just kind of fun. I did not see myself I didn't see myself witnessing this at any point in my life, but you know what? Whatever, man. This is certainly something that happens. And honestly, I like Roshi in this season a lot more than this season one, because he's given actual like depth as a character instead of just having like, oh, instead of awooga boobies, instead of being just that guy and being like strong and him being like secretly really strong. Obviously, he's still that. He's still secretly really strong and all that stuff. Like, let's not be fooled here. He still is old. Like, he still is old Roshi. He's still the big awooga boobies guy, and he's still secretly buff under all of that. And that is certainly played up in the show with what Krillin brings him at the very beginning, so he can convince him to train, so he can be convinced to train Krillin, and then also the mission he sends Goku and Krillin to. It's so weird. It's so we still have that little bit of Roshi of him being a creep. But something that I like is that Roshi participates in the Budokai Tenkaichi because he feels that if either Goku or Krillin win, then it's gonna get to their heads and they're not gonna become as strong as they need to be because they already won. And obviously, what I like about this whole thing is that we see that Goku is strong enough to beat Roshi. Obviously, again, I think everyone who's watching the show at like any point in time knows that Goku's a Saiyan, so he's like biologically stronger than Roshi could ever be. But yeah, like still Roshi just beat him, and in the end, obviously, fucking hacks because of the full moon shit. But I like that he actually cares about them and wants to actually see them grow instead of becoming just the strongest there is by themselves. You know, just immediately. You know, just the first tournament, bam, they already win. Like obviously, he knows that they would have won because they already climbed up and they gave him trouble. Goku gave Roshi trouble in their fight. Something I actually like we obviously hear throughout the show, not throughout the show, I mean, technically, yeah, that he doesn't want them to win because, like I said, they just want to get it into their heads. But when we get to the Goku fight, with his fight with Goku, we see that he's actually having trouble beating Goku, and he's like, oh, I gotta pull out everything for this guy. Which is insane. It's insane that he has to pull out everything for what is apparently a 14-year-old child. Which, by the way, I'm not sure what type of 14-year-old kid looks that small. I thought that Goku was like 7. I wasn't. I don't think 14-year-olds are that small. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I'm the same height as I was when I was 14, but I'm not sure if 14-year-olds are like knee height for adults, you know? I get Roshi. I try to say Mudern and Roshi at the same time. I get that Roshi himself is the turtle hermit. And he's supposed to be small and all that stuff because he's supposed to be an old man. Obviously, he's secretly really buff and all that. But like, everyone else reaches Goku to like Goku reaches and Krillin, by the way. I think Krillin's 13, so he's younger. They're like knee height for everyone else. It's like that is not how biology works. What? And again, I know he's supposed to grow whatever the fuck, but like I'm not sure. That's like a gigantic growth spurt. I'm being real. There's a gigantic growth spurt for Goku and Krillin. I'm not sure. I'm. Oh, never mind. I know Krillin's supposed to be a short king. I know Krillin is meant to be a short king, and all that stuff. How tall is Krillin? He looks really small. Dragon Ball Wiki. Moon Boy? Hello? What? I am an adult. I don't care. 5 foot. 5 foot? What? That's insane. I'm taller than Krillin? I mean, I think everyone's taller than Krillin, but whatever. How tall is Goku? This must be the most searched up thing ever. Goku in just the Dragon Ball wiki. I'm very interested. Hold on. Uh, 5'9". Really? 5'9"? Goku's died 4 times. That's insane. At what point do you get tired? At what point do you just get tired of dying? Birth date. Ah, there's 2 birth dates here. He died at 27. That's 27, 24. That's insane. I'm not sure where this is. What's this? This is like Dragon Ball. Okay. Super. Whatever. Okay, but yeah, that's interesting that he's not even 6 feet. I thought he'd be 6 feet. He's just 5'9". Wow. Anyways, Roshi. Let's talk about Roshi. You know, like I like that throughout here, like we see that Roshi has to actually like make up strategies to actually win against Goku, but then Goku copies them and he makes more strategies that make it harder for Roshi to win until, you know, he turns into a giant ape and then Roshi hits him with the Kamehameha. I'm pretty sure he does something else too. He has like another move to paralyze Goku. It's like, aha, now you can't do this. No, you can't do this. And then it works still. Goku breaks out because he's a Saiyan. And all that stuff. So yeah. Yeah, I think Roshi's much more interesting this season than anything else, and I like that we see him use a lot of techniques in this. So yeah, moving on to the next character, Nam. So Nam is actually is also interesting. Oh, this character's interesting. I think this is the character that from like the tournament that got the most fleshing out of any other character. Because this guy is like is from like the desert that I think we saw in season 1, and his family is like really thirsty, and he's gonna use all the money from the tournament to buy food, to buy water. And also something about Roshi, like Roshi actually helps him out by telling that he's Roshi instead of Jackie Chun. It's like, hey, I'm here to make sure these guys don't win, but you know I feel bad about you losing, so here's a capsule so you can get water. Yeah, I like Nam because you kind of feel bad for him in the end. Like, you know he's gonna lose. He's one of those characters you kind of know he's gonna lose, but you don't want him to lose. You really don't want him to lose. So again, you really feel for the guy. And I feel like it really works. I feel like Nam as a character really works. And I do I like him, and I like that we're it's that fucking Porky Pig moment there. I like that the Fuck it. Fucking no. Fucking hell. Fucking hell, mate. I like that it's not just like Goku and Krillin fucking beating ass and all that. No. We actually see other characters and what they want. And Nam and Yamcha. I mean Yamcha less so. He's just there to fuck shit up. But Roshi and characters like him and they're being like this like this motivation behind actually going to the tournament and winning, and them training for like years to get to this point. I think Yamcha Yamcha I think Krillin and Goku fucking trained for like 2 months, not that much, but still like we see that this guy. I like that he got a happy ending. We're gonna I know that season 3 is gonna start off with his story sort of concluding, but yeah, I like Nam's inclusion here. I feel like I feel like it was a really good inclusion to have here because we see again this character who is just destined to be not who's destined to not be the main character of his own story. He is a side character in Goku's story. That's the reality of it. So yeah, I like Nam because we get this like view into like the lives of people here and why they would enter this tournament. That's really cool. It gives the tournament much more importance than just people come here to fight. You know, I like that. I like that a lot. Anyways, moving on to a character that I learned about is infamous for a certain little aspect. Launch, who in the show that in like the thing I watch is called Lunch, which is interesting. But here, apparently, in like the dub and whatever, it's called Launch. So much called. I'm gonna call her Launch. She is a character who, if she sneezes, she changes personality. She's here for like 2 episodes, like maybe 3, and that's it. That's really it for Launch. Tickle, what the fuck? Anyways, and she stays behind in Roshi's house, and that's it. We don't see her again after the first half. Of the season, and that's it. That's all we know about Launch. Is that Roshi like fucking Krillin and Goku took her as I was like oh like part of the initiation training for Roshi, and then she just kind of stayed there because she was wanted, and that's it. Um um yeah. So I don't I don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say. She just exists, and that's it. And like she's immediately forgotten. Immediately forgotten. She doesn't do much. I just she doesn't have any fucking like importance. It's like there's no importance to her character, and this is one of the big faults. Like it's just man, just this character who doesn't care. Like what? No, this character who it's very apparent that it was like just like a thing. Like the thing is, this is an interesting character. Like she has an interesting power, but we don't see her at any point in time after this. I know she shows up later, but apparently she's infamous for being forgotten, just completely forgotten. Let's see here. Okay, and the thing, okay. Yeah, she only legitimately starts being in like flashbacks. That's insane. That's it. Just yeah. I don't know what to say. She's forgotten. Like I can tell that how because the joke because she's immediately forgotten in this fucking season. It's insane. Yeah, no, there's not much more to say about Launch. It's just like she just forgot it immediately, and that's kind of funny. I just want to talk about her because it's like that. Like, well, what is the point of this character? Hello. And yeah. Next up is Yamcha, and this is a character I'm gonna separate from the other three because I had to talk about Yamcha separately because he actually does something in the show. Kind of. He doesn't really grow. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna get into the tournament, and we see him like sort of train, and then he comes back and say, hey, I'm here, and then he fights and he loses. That's it. That's all Yamcha does. And it's just kind of like disappointing because we saw Yamcha grow throughout season 1, and he's kind of forgotten here. He feels very forgotten as a character in this season in particular. So yeah, it's a bit just it's a bit disappointing. Just all things considered, it's a bit disappointing. Just to see like this character who was kind of important last season just kind of like be forgotten and tossed it aside and all that stuff. It's a bit disappointing. And that's all we gotta say about him, really. He just fucking loses and he sits back in the backline going like, ooh, but now he's doing this and now he's doing that. Like, come on, man. Really? And the same thing for Bulma, Puar, and Oolong, who are absent the entire season and just come back to look at the fight. And, like, make commentary sometimes. That's it. It's like, come on. These are some big characters from last season, and they're not giving any attention. Almost any attention. It's just kind of like, and they're at the end of the end because they got to be here. It's like, come on. Really? I thought we at least see them at some point throughout the season kind of do something else. But nope. It's just kind of like, they're there, and they're kind of just sitting there waiting for Goku to arrive, pretty much. So yeah, they're not even like the best thing there. It's just kind of it's what the fuck? No, it's not even like they're not even the best written thing. It's just like really annoying that they're not doing anything. I can definitely see a cast bloat problem going on right now because this is quite a bit of characters that had to. Obviously, not as much as like something like Ruby. No. So, let's be real here. It's not as bad as like Ruby. With it being like fucking just like me talking about characters that I don't like for legitimately hours. For like, I think my longest Ruby review was Volume 8, and that's because that single season had so many fucking characters. Yeah, an hour and 9 minutes was that fucking episode was, and everyone except for Volume 6. Volume 6 was shorter. The episode for Volume 6. Volume 5 was really long. Fucking Volume 7 and then Volume 9 was not that long. I mean, taking into account everything here, it was not that long. But yeah, just kind of it's just kind of manages these characters being forgotten. And I guess you can say the same thing about like Chi-Chi being completely forgotten and all stuff. But the thing is that right now I know that Chi-Chi becomes so fucking super important in the later Dragon Ball things. But I can forgive it now because the show hasn't made an effort to really make you care about that character. You know, she showed up for like 2 episodes. She was there, that's it. The only reason why I know who Chi-Chi is because I know about Dragon Ball. Some little bits and pieces of Dragon Ball. So yeah, that's all I really know. So yeah, it's disappointing to see these characters not get any attention, man. Let's move on to the plot. And this is my biggest complaint about the season as a whole and why it's ranking so like low compared to the normal people. I guess like normal people, no, like people who watch this. Is that this at least the first half where it's just Krillin and Goku training, I feel like it just drags on for too long. That when we reach the tournament, it's just kind of like, oh, okay, finally something's happening. Like, they're getting stronger and all that stuff, and I get that. But I feel like it's just kind of like, it just drags on and on and on. It's like season 1, where season 1 is like, they're traveling and they're encountering different stuff and they're fighting the Dragon Balls and all that stuff. No. Here's just like, train and train and train and train. It's kind of like, fucking hell, man. That's why it took me so long. The tournament part, I feel like it was great. If it was well paced, I feel like it was really entertaining. The fights, again, like I said, the fights were cool, but it's just the first half of this show with its plot lines and like the characters. Obviously, you're only really focusing on Goku, Krillin, and Roshi. Sometimes launch, but not that much, and they're just kind of stagnant. They're not furthering themselves. We don't see anything character wise until the second half, where we have Nam, where we have fucking Roshi, actually like trying to help out quotation marks Goku and Krillin. Like, I feel like just the first half of the season is just dragging on, and it's kind of bad to say that about something that lasts for 15 episodes, and the next season is gonna be longer. It's gonna be 17 episodes. So we'll see how it goes there. But yeah, no. The tournament itself is really entertaining. I really liked it. Again, all the characters there, most of the characters that we have here show up during Tournament Saga, and most of the more important feats and moments come from the tournament part of the Tournament Saga. But here, it's just kind of like, it's just like the first half is kind of like, just fucking train until we decide you're better, and we decide until Roshi said you're ready, and that's it. It's like, okay, man, okay, but yeah. Aside from that, like, I don't feel like it was a dreadful watch. It just felt like like that first half. It's kind of like okay, can we get to the point now? So yeah. That's why I was kind of hesitant, because I was like, oh, but the tournament part's really good. The tournament part is like really good, but like we have just the first half where you have to get through. It's like, goddamn, this is really slow. You just kind of want to get through it at some point, you know. So yeah, that's why Dragon Ball Season 2 Tournament Saga is getting a B tier. I know that a lot of people are gonna go like, what the fuck, man? But it's like the best part of the Dragon Ball like first show. Like maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. But for me right now, it just dragged on. Maybe that's me being fucking weak and not watching a lot of stuff here. But maybe just because it just I don't know. Like, I feel like it dragged on. Hopefully, you don't run into that problem with the last season being fucking 31 episodes. But yeah, no. Hopefully it's a lot better. So yeah. What did you guys think about the second season of Dragon Ball, second arc of Dragon Ball? Leave in the comments below. If you want to give us your feedback, you can like or dislike the video on YouTube, whichever you prefer. And you can rate us on Spotify. And if you want to follow us on our socials, they're all in the description, including the Entertainment and mine, and whoever else is in any episode that you would like that you're gonna watch. And that's about it. See ya.